Control room. Training room. Hospital. Parishi village.
In a minute, we are going to land in the Parishiv village. This is one of the 76 villages in the zone of exclusion that was evacuated within a few days after the explosion.
In order to understand how people had lived before and what happened to these houses which are located in Parishev, I suggest that you go and see a house which hasn't had owners for more than 9 years. Soon it's going to be 30 years. Let's go and see it. Soon after the explosion, the authorities ordered the evacuation of all people within 30 kilometers of the plant. Over 130,000 people from the surrounding towns and villages had to leave their homes. Some of the residents have returned and have been living in these abandoned places to this day. Find the old case and get to know the story of Ivan Ivanovich. Parishi village. Tell us a few words about how you live here and about the year you were out. Indeed, we left only for 1 year, and then we heard the comment, go back home. We left everything and came back here. There were 140 people who came back to the town. There was a witness for each home. We were told, seize the houses so that no one takes them over. We had to let in the second group of people, and those people opposed. Those who lived near the reactor were given 40 minutes for each house to gather their belongings, and then they were evacuated. So those people said, there is enough space for us too. And so they did not let in the second group of people. Once it happened, it was decided that no one would go. We were left as we had already entered the area. I have to admit that for a year or two, we did not pay for the electricity. We were provided support, flour, cereals, free of charge as a reward for the fact that we agreed to come. And then they began to ask why we settled here, and suddenly we were blamed for staying. But we didn't enter the area on our own. We received an order to do so. So why are orders given in such a way that no one knows anything? Back then, when we had come here, the militia themselves unloaded us. They helped us to do all the work. And then people come to their senses. Some were shouting, "We will go," and others, "We will go too," while those were already living here. Therefore, no one succeeded, neither they nor us. At that time, I was already working in Chernobyl, so I did not care. If I am to be here, I will be here. Although I didn't particularly like the Chernobyl climate, I had some pain in the chest, I couldn't walk or breathe normally. And here is fine. Why? How do I know? I really believe that there is a tubercle bacillus in the water there. Is there? Yes, of course. And secondly, in the years of the revolution, no one would bring the food or water there, and people were dying. And right there, they were digging pits and burying dead people. Later, on that cemetery, they built houses, and still different people were buried there, some very sick, and they died of their sicknesses. And perhaps that's the reason it was all released into the air. How old are you now? I am already 81 years old. Moscow Eye.
In a moment, we are going to land in the base of the strategic over-the-horizon radar, Tuga-2, also known as the Moscow Eye.
Control room. Roof of the control room. Training room. Under the radar was able to detect the start of ballistic missiles from the northeastern parts of the United States. About 1,000 of specialists from various fields were needed to deal with it. The entire installation was top secret, guarded by the Soviet elite Spetsnaz units. Training room. Top of the antenna. Guide.
Сейчас вы находитесь в Словении. на очень интересном месте. Это называется объект Чернобыль-2.
We are in a very interesting
Чернобыль-2
place called
недалеко
Chernobyl
от
2.
Москвы, как есть такое популярное
Chernobyl
название в
2,
интернете,
on the
в
internet
Ютубе.
also called the Moscow Eye,
Это
is the biggest over-the-horizon radar in the
самая
world.
большая в Украине на тот момент за горизонтной РЛС. Функция этой РЛС это
The
было
purpose of the radar was to detect that the
оперативное
strategic or ballistic missiles
определение
were fired.
по запуску стратегических
It could also
баллистических
detect
ракет
the enemy planes of the
от
strategic
самолетов
destination.
тактического назначения. И эта антенна
It was
загоризонтная
built in the
антенна была
70s and launched for tests in 1982.
в 1982 году она приступила к своему
In
опытно-промышленному
1985,
работе.
it
И
was
в
ready to work.
1985 году эта антенна была допущена к самостоятельной работе, то есть она была принята в эксплуатацию. Это был элитный офицерский
An
полк,
elite
в
regiment
котором
stationed here
служили
served
практически
mostly by
только
the
офицеры.
officers.
Здесь была очень хорошая
The
инфраструктура.
infrastructure was very
Здесь был
good.
офицерский городок, в котором было и культурный центр,
A town for the
и
officers was
квартиры для
built,
проживания офицеров,
in which there was a community center,
очень большой
officers'
спортивный зал,
flats, a big gym,
театр,
a beautiful cinema,
школа.
and a school.
Недалеко, буквально там, через 10 километров от города Чернобыля.
Nearby,
10
there is the
километров
city of
от
Chernobyl,
Припяти.
and 10
То
kilometers
есть
away,
здесь были
there is the
созданы
town of
необходимые
Pripyat.
условия для того, чтобы
All the facilities were here,
здесь
so that the officers
могли
could perfectly do their
выполнять
duties.
воинский долг. Но и сегодня оно
After the
является
accident at the
примечательностью,
Chernobyl
когда
nuclear
на
power plant in
Чернобыльской
1986,
станции
the antenna was
87 году
contaminated,
антенна была
secret
снята
devices were
боевое
dismantled
устройство,
and taken away, and the
оборудование, которое
staff
было
was
здесь
evacuated.
секретное, было вывезено, персонал был эвакуирован, и в настоящий момент антенна является как бы таким
Now the antenna is a monument of the former Soviet
великого
Union,
могущества
to show
Советского
that they could
Союза,
afford
который
to
мог
build
себе
objects of this
позволить
size.
создать объекты такой мощности. Ну и двигаемся дальше для того,
Let's go
чтобы
further to see another parts of the
другие
Duga
объекты
2.
Дуга-2.
Minsk. For me as a person who is making this film, it is very important to know. In your Chernobyl prayer, you write much about time, the importance of time, about what is going to come, and about what has already happened. Please tell me, what is exactly a catastrophe of time to you?
Делает этот фильм очень важно. Вы в своей чернобыльской молитве очень много пишете о времени и о важности времени, о том, что будет и о том, что было. Скажите, чем именно для вас есть катастрофа времени?
Ну, катастрофа времени в том, что вот, например, чернобыльские тучи.
A catastrophe of time is that, for example, in 4 days, the Chernobyl cloud was already over Africa. That's the first issue. And the second is that there are a lot of radionuclides there. Some of them live 10 years, which means they are already dead, while others 100 years. And there are some that will live 2,000 to 3,000 years. And in terms of us, humans, it is a catastrophe of time. We cannot comprehend it. It's impossible to imagine how it is. And there are still hot particles that appear because some radionuclides connect with each other. These ones are eternal. Even people who will be just sunbathing on the planet Earth in this place one day, or they will build a new home in this place, as it always happens. The cemetery is ruined.
И если
And
эта
if this particle
частица
is
будет
raised
поднята
up into
вверх,
the air,
человек её
people will
вдохнет,
inhale it
и
and get
уже
slowly destroyed.
медленно
It
будет
means death.
разрушение. Это
These
смерть, то есть они
particles are
бесполезны.
immortal. Gleiwitz. Gleiwitz. One day when we came to the lab, it was on the 29th of April, we noticed that our detectors counted a lot of impulses. We were very worried and even scared that something had happened, an accident, that some kind of radioactive contamination took place in the lab. We couldn't figure out where it came from. It could be that our electronic system failed in some way, or our impulse registration system were broken. Different assumptions were talked over for a few days. It was only from unofficial sources like Radio Free Europe or Voice of America we heard about the accident in Chernobyl. Then we started to wonder what it was that our detectors really counted.